Like every morning, Daphne went to her favorite local cafe to get her coffee and breakfast sandwich. She left the cafe after she'd paid. A few minutes later, she returned, looking anxious, because she had forgotten her wallet. Strangely, it was nowhere to be found. She called the police to report the incident. Nobody had left the store, so the thief was still there when the officer arrived. He started questioning everyone. Jenny, the cashier, said that Daphne was a regular customer and she had known her for a long time. So, she would never steal her wallet, and she didn't see it after Daphne had paid. Andre was a tourist visiting the city for the first time. He said he'd come to the cafe because he'd wanted to try their famous muffins. She claimed he hadn't seen the wallet. He was busy trying to pick what type of muffin he should get at the time. And Harry worked as a store clerk. He said that he'd come there to grab a coffee, and he didn't see the wallet because he was pouring milk into his coffee. So who do you think stole the wallet? It was Harry, the store clerk, or should I say Harold. Do you see his name tag? He lied about his name when he ordered his drink. Also, even though he said he was pouring milk in his coffee, as you can see, it doesn't have any milk in it. Jessica was an aspiring actor, and she had a big musical theater audition that day. She left her house early in the morning to make it on time, but she had forgotten to take her sheet music with her, so she had to drive back. When she walked in, though, she saw her roommate lying on the floor unconscious. A nurse was standing beside her. She explained to Jessica that her roommate had been poisoned, but luckily, she'd had enough time to call an ambulance before she passed out. Jessica immediately realized something was wrong. She thanked the nurse for helping her friend and asked her if she could get her a glass of water or anything else. The nurse agreed, and Jessica hurried to the kitchen. There, she called the police saying, "There's a fake nurse in my house. She poisoned my roommate and tried to rob her." How did Jessica understand that? When she arrived at the house, there was no ambulance car in the driveway or in the street. And it's not like paramedics started using Uber. And you might have also noticed that the paramedic bag the nurse was holding was slightly open, and Jessica's roommate's jewelry was dangling out of it. Anna and Catherine are both influencers, but take a look at the latest photos they posted. Which of these ladies do you think is richer? Catherine is richer, of course. Just look at the number of likes on her photo. She has 27,907 likes. Anna, on the other hand, has 9,837, which means that Catherine has way more followers and must be earning millions. Annie managed to buy presents for everyone except her dad. She knew what everyone wanted, but her dad was kind of secretive and not the talking type. He was also not great with technology and never bought anything online. So there was no way she could sneak into her dad's computer and check the saved items in his shopping cart. But he always liked to make lists in his little notebook, and Annie was sure she might be able to find a wish list there. So she sneaked into her father's office one day to look for the notebook. It was nowhere to be found, but his study table had a locked drawer. She looked for the key around the room but couldn't find it anywhere. That's when 2 different sticky notes attached to 2 different books inside the bookcase caught her eye. The first note was attached to a psychology book and had P5487TH written on it. The second note was attached to a detective novel and said P21320TH. Annie immediately knew what the notes meant. Can you guess what she had to do? She had to open to page 548 in the first book and find the 7th word on this page. Then, she had to open page 213 in the second book and find the 20th word on that page. The words she found were under and desk. The girl immediately looked under the desk and found the drawer key taped to it. James was walking back to his apartment from work late at night. Suddenly, he was hit on the head and taken away. When he woke up, he found himself in a small room. He tried to escape, but the door was locked with a padlock. James tried to look for the key, but there was nothing in there but a window with strange-looking metal bars. Suddenly, he noticed something. It helped him to find the key. Do you see it too? One of the metal bars is different from the others. That one is the key. Giselle was camping in the forest during a night when the moon was full. After midnight, when she was making s'mores by a fire, she heard a loud howl. There was a werewolf in the forest, and it managed to find Giselle's tent because it smelled of food there. Thankfully, Giselle was not in her tent anymore when the werewolf arrived because she had already run away. Hiding behind a tree, she watched the creature eat her s'mores and tear up the tent. When the werewolf left before sunrise, the girl returned to her tent, but everything was ruined. There was no more food or water left. Her cell phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't call anyone. She started wandering through the forest, and soon she came upon a witch's house. When she walked in, she saw the witch and another lady. Giselle asked the witch if she could send her home. The witch agreed to help her on one condition. She would only send Giselle home if she guessed her sister's name. If not, she would turn her into a frog. Giselle knew the answer, but how? Did you notice that the witch's sister is wearing the same necklace around her neck as the werewolf? Well, Giselle did, and there's a name written on the necklace: Abigail. Zoe went to a security guard and reported that her gym bag was missing. She said she'd gone to the ladies' restroom after her dance cardio class. She was fixing her hair when someone came up from behind and pushed her. So she didn't see the person who had taken her bag. The security guard refused to check the footage from the security camera that was outside the restroom. Neither did he file a report. Why? Zoe said she was fixing her hair, so she must have been looking in the mirror. If she was telling the truth about someone sneaking up from behind, she would have definitely seen their reflection. So, Zoe probably lied so that she could sue them. Luckily, the security guard was super smart. Several women went missing in a small town. James Darcy and his police team had been searching for months, but they couldn't find the place where the women were kept. One day, when Sandra was jogging, she decided to use another route to get home. As she was passing an old cabin, she heard screams coming from its basement. She immediately called James Darcy to report it. James and his team arrived at the place and busted in. They found there 3 women. They all said that they had been locked in the basement for months, but James knew one of them was lying. The first woman said that her name was Tammy and that she had spent almost 8 months in the basement. The second woman claimed that her name was Hannah and that she had been there for almost 5 months. The third woman told him that her name was Allison and that she had stayed there for about 3 months. Can you tell who the liar is? Allison is telling the truth. Look at her. Her clothes are dirty. Her hair is greasy. Her roots have started to grow out. She definitely hasn't seen daylight for a long time. The same goes for Hannah. But look at Tammy. She looks clean. Her clothes look new. Her hair and makeup look fresh. So it must be her who is lying. David spent his summer break at a science camp that was at a big space facility. When the summer break ended and school started, he told his friends from the science club all about his camp adventures. He said that at the facility, he had found a secret room. And in there was a time machine. He stepped into it and pressed some buttons to test if it really worked. And it did. He traveled through time and was able to talk to Nikola Tesla, Chuck Berry, and King Aragorn. But one of his friends immediately called him out for lying. How did he know that David made up this whole thing? Well, even if David actually managed to travel through time, he might have been able to talk to Nikola Tesla and Chuck Berry, but definitely not King Aragorn, because he is a fictional character. Erica works at the Railway Security Service. This morning, she received an emergency alert. There's a person with fake documents trying to escape to Canada by train. Erica and her colleagues found 3 suspects who look almost the same. Can you identify a criminal just by looking at one's passport? No matter what country a person is from, no passport can have a photo with mountains in the background, so these documents are fake. Bob is a college teacher. He invited his worst student, Dan, for a conversation. Bob wants to test the guy's logical thinking. He says, "If you tell a lie, I will expel you from college, and if you tell the truth, I'll still expel you." What should the student say to stay in college? Bob should say, "I'm telling lies." This phrase will create a paradox because it cannot be a lie or the truth. Nancy has 10 bowling balls. Her brother Josh decided to check her intelligence, so he asked Nancy to place those 10 balls in 5 lines, such that each of the lines has exactly 4 balls on them. Can you help her accomplish this task? She should draw a 5-point star and place the 10 balls occupying the corners and the intersection points. Voila! 5 lines with 4 balls in each row. Kevin has been hitchhiking in a desert for hours. Finally, one driver stopped and said, "I will give you a ride wherever you want, but first, you gotta crack my riddle. Which letter can make the road larger?" Can you help Kevin solve this task? The letter B can turn road into broad. Alex is a shepherd. He had 30 sheep, out of which all but 13 ran away. Can you calculate how many sheep Alex has now? He has 13 sheep. The phrase "all but 13 ran away" actually means that all except the 13 escaped. Take a look at these 3 prisoners. The first guy pushes the iron bars. The second guy shakes muscles with dumbbells. The third guy sits and reads a book. There's a picture hanging on the wall. Can you say for sure who's likely to escape? Take a closer look at the third guy. Can you see the sand under the painting? He must be digging a tunnel and covering it with a picture, so he's the one who wants to escape. All Becky's shoes are black except 2. Also, all Becky's shoes are red except 2. And all Becky's shoes are yellow except 2. Can you calculate how many shoes Becky has in general? Just 3, one of each color. Dr. Smith prescribed Dan expensive vitamins. He gave Dan 2 bottles labeled R and B. The pills are entirely identical. The doctor asked Dan to take 1 pill daily from the R bottle and 1 pill from the B bottle. He can't take more or less than that. One morning, Dan was taking out the pills. He took out 1 pill from the R bottle as usual, and then, by mistake, he took out 2 from the B bottle. Now Dan has no idea which pill is which. He can't just throw away the expensive pills. What would you suggest? Dan should cut each of the 3 pills in half and put each half in 2 piles. Now each of the 2 piles will contain half of pill R and 2 halves of pill B. Now, Dan should take 1 more pill from the R bottle, cut it into half, and put the 2 halves in 2 different piles. This way, we'll know that each pile will have 2 halves of pill R and 2 halves of pill B, or 1 complete R pill and 1 complete B pill. Dan can take one pile today and keep the second pile for tomorrow. I am red, but I smell like blue paint. What am I? Red paint. Timmy's mother has 3 sons. She named her first son April. The next one's name is May. Can you guess the youngest son's name? And the correct answer is Timmy. Pretty obvious, huh? Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? The reflection in the mirrors doesn't match reality. What about this picture? Can you see anything odd? These 2 ladies seem completely fine, but there's a bandage on this guy's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had big scratches, unless they're a zombie. The king of octopuses has sons who have 6, 7, or 8 legs. The one with 7 legs always lies, but the one with either 6 or 8 legs always tells the truth. On a certain night, 4 sons meet and chat. The blue octopus says, "We have 28 legs altogether." The green one says, "We have 27 legs altogether." The purple one says, "We have 26 legs altogether." And the red octopus says, "We have 25 legs altogether." Can you identify the color of the sun who's speaking the truth? The green sun is telling the truth. To prove it, let us first assume that one of them is telling the truth. Obviously, 3 of the 4 sons lie as they disagree with each other. Let's suppose that the blue octopus is telling the truth. In that case, he has either 6 or 8 legs. And each of the other octopuses is lying, which means they have 7 legs. In this case, the total number of legs will be 6 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 27 legs, or 8 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 29 legs. But the blue octopus said that they have 28 legs altogether. Therefore, he lies. Now we can follow the same logic and check the remaining 3 sons. And we'll find out that only the green octopus is telling the truth. I have an eye, but cannot see. I'm faster than any man alive, but have no limbs. What am I? The correct answer is hurricane. I know a word of letters 3. Add 2 and there will be fewer. Can you guess the word? The correct answer is few. I have a beard without being a man. I'm green, but I'm not a lizard. I'm white, but I'm not snow. Who am I? The correct answer is leek. A wicked wizard has imprisoned Billy in his tower. Billy ran away from the wizard, but now he needs to choose between these 3 doors leading outside the tower. There's a toxic gas behind the first door. The second path is full of poisonous scorpions and snakes. And behind the third door, there's a pride of lions which haven't eaten for 3 years. Which way is the safest? The third one. The lions can't starve for 3 years and still be alive. Monica adores real estate. She used to spend $300,000 per house and acquired property worldwide. She realized that she had too many houses at one point, so she started selling them at $30,000 per house. How is that possible if she was obviously losing money? Before selling her property, Monica used to be a billionaire. Since she started losing money, she became only a millionaire. I'm full of holes, but I still hold water. What am I? A sponge. Sarah's mother has 2 sons and 1 daughter. The sons' names are Josh and John. What's the daughter's name? Sarah. You're in a room with 3 monkeys. 1 monkey has a banana, 1 has a stick, and 1 has nothing. Can you tell for sure who's the smartest primate in the room? You! The sun bakes me, the hand breaks me, the foot treads me, the mouth tastes me. What am I? The correct answer is grapes. Bobby participated in a brain teaser contest. The host blindfolded Bobby and gave him a basket with 25 red apples, 47 green apples, and 3 yellow apples. What's the minimum number of apples that Bobby has to pick to ensure that there are at least 2 apples of different colors? He should pick at least 48 apples. There's a slight chance he might pick up 47 green apples in a row. The Smiths are having a family dinner. A grandfather, a grandmother, 2 fathers, 2 mothers, 1 brother, 2 sisters, 2 sons, 2 daughters, 1 daughter-in-law, and 1 mother-in-law need to sit at a table. There are only 7 chairs available in the room. How many more chairs do they have to borrow to sit down all together for the dinner if everyone requires a separate chair? They don't need additional chairs. There are only 7 people. A grandfather married a grandmother. They have a son who has married a woman. Together, they have a son and 2 daughters, so there are only 7 people at the dinner. What has to be broken before you can use it? Any ideas? An egg.
Tyson was thinking about buying a gym membership. There were only 3 gyms in the area where he lived. The first one was called Iron Muscles Gym, the second one was called Stronger You Gym, and the third one was called Fit for Life Gym. Now take a look inside all of them. Which one should he choose? Do you see the clean towels wardrobe inside the Stronger You Gym? They don't look clean at all. It's not the best option unless he loves germs. And take a closer look at the running mill inside the Fit for Life Gym. It's broken. That's an accident waiting to happen. So he should pick the Iron Muscles Gym. Ellie and Ollie were looking for a nice hotel to spend their vacation together with their puppy. After checking out some places online, they brought down their options to 3. Take a look at the website of each of them. Which one should they pick? Do you notice the small stock photo sign on the photos of the first hotel's website? That can only mean they are scamming people. The second hotel seems like a good option since it's a 5-star one. But do you see the small sign on the website that says, "No pets allowed"? They can't go there with their puppy, so they should stay at the 3rd hotel. James and Jonathan went camping in the woods. As they were searching for the perfect place to set their tents, they came across a river that only had 1 bridge to cross to the other side. However, as soon as they stepped on it, a troll appeared in front of them and said, "I'll only let you pass if you answer my riddle. Until I am measured, I am not known. Yet how you miss me when I have flown. What am I?" The answer is time. Hillary was sitting in her hotel room when someone knocked on her door. She opened it and saw a man whom she had never seen before. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have made a mistake. I thought this was my room." He then walked back to the elevator. Hillary immediately locked the door after him and called hotel security. What do you think made her so suspicious? Nobody knocks on their own hotel door, but the man did that. Captain Bluebeard was traveling the sea with his crew. At one time during their voyage, 2 of his sailors were standing on opposite sides of the ship. One of them was looking west, and the other one was looking east. But at the same time, they could see each other clearly as well. How is that possible? The sailors had their backs against either ends of the ship. Newton and Curie were 2 history professors from Planet Q. To complete their planet Earth research, they had to explore a place the Earthlings used to call a school. There, they found a piece of paper with a handwritten number on it, but couldn't come to an agreement about what the number was. Newton was saying it was 6, and Curie was saying it was 9. Who is correct? Do you see this teeny tiny dot here? That can only mean the number is 9. So, Curie is right.
Yeah.
The Foggy Mountains region of the Kingdom of Endolia was occupied by the most vicious dragon. The king called Knight Samuel to go on a quest to defeat it and take all the gold it stole from the people back.
Yeah.
So, Knight Samuel hopped on his horse and reached the mountains after a long journey. Once the dragon saw him, it said if Knight Samuel knew all 3 of its riddles correctly, it would leave the mountains as well as all the gold. The first one was, "Soft and fragile is my skin, I get my growth in mud. I'm dangerous as much as pretty, for if not careful, I draw blood. What am I?" It's a thorn. "You're a clever one, Knight Samuel," the dragon said. "Here's my second riddle. I am a box that holds keys without locks, yet they can unlock your soul. What am I?" The answer is a piano. I have only one riddle left for you, but be very careful. If you can't answer it correctly, this kingdom shall be mine. When you went into the woods, you got me. You hated me, yet you wanted to find me. You went home with me because you couldn't find me. What was it? The answer is a splinter. Annie forgot her computer in her dorm room, but she urgently needed to use one to submit her school paper. Her mom had a laptop in the study room, but it was password protected. However, she was easily able to figure out the password. How did she do it? Take a closer look at the bookcase inside the room. Some of the books have letters instead of their titles on the side labels. This book has the letter A, this one has N, another N here, there's an I on this book's label, and this one has an E. So the password is Annie. Professor Guillermo was the headmaster of the Academy for Superheroes. He was also responsible for holding examinations to select new students for the Academy. There were only 3 students left who successfully made it to the last part of this year's exam. To pass it, they all needed to show Professor Guillermo their special power. The first student's power was going invisible. The second student could make objects fly. And the third student could bend metal with her mind. However, Professor Guillermo realized that one of them was an imposter. Which one is it? Take a closer look at the object that the second student is levitating. Do you see the small on-off button here? That can only mean it's actually some tech device that can fly on its own. So he is the imposter. Jane was competing at Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? And she was only one question away from the $1 billion prize. The question was, "It's true, I bring serenity and hang around the stars, but yet I live in misery, you'll find me behind bars. With thieves and villains I consort, in prison I'll be found. But I would never go to court unless there's more than one. What am I? It's the letter S. Dylan was going to buy a new car. The salesman showed him 3 options. Which one should he choose? Take a look at the side door of the first car. The paint on here is chipped. It's not wise to get a car that's already damaged. The third car's left tire rim is cracked. This one is also a pass. So he should get the second car. Oh, yeah. Catherine has 4 daughters, and each of her daughters has a brother. How many children in total does Catherine have? Each daughter has the one and the same brother, so she has 5 kids. Rachel and Ashley were best friends, but one of them was living in Japan, and the other in the United States. Rachel had purchased a BFF bracelet for Ashley and wanted to mail it to her. However, the only way to make sure the bracelet would be received was to place a lock on the package. Rachel had locks and Ashley had locks, but neither had keys for each other's locks. How can they ensure the bracelet isn't stolen? Rachel should place a lock on the package and send it to Ashley. Ashley then should place one of her locks on the package and send it back to Rachel. Rachel removes her lock and sends the package back to Ashley. Marla goes to the grocery store and buys 1 dozen eggs. As she's going home, all but 3 eggs break. How many eggs are left unbroken? The answer is hidden in the question. She has 3 eggs left.
Hey Brightsiders, I've prepared a new portion of mind-boggling riddles. And what does it mean? It's time to put on your detective hat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jake loved making bets with his friends. This time, he bet that he could put a bottle of water in the middle of his living room and crawl into it. His friends were sure they would win. But somehow, Jake won the bet again. Can you understand how he did it? Well, Jake said he would put a bottle of water in the middle of the room and crawl into it. But he didn't specify if he would crawl into the bottle or into the room. So he simply crawled into the room and won the bet. Now try to crack this riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel, but not as stiff as a pole. What is it? It's a chain. Dylan was trapped in a basement. The only thing he found inside was a note and a pen. Find the way to get 200 out of 188 with 1 line, and you'll be free. 5 minutes later, the door opened automatically, and Dylan was free. What did he do? He drew a horizontal line to divide 188. This way, he got 2 1s and 4 zeros. Look at these 4 people in a grocery store. Can you figure out who is going to steal a watermelon? It's the man with the soccer ball. It seems as if he's holding something heavy. It must be the watermelon disguised as a soccer ball. Robert was a collector of unusual coins. One day, the man called the police and reported one of his rarest coins missing. He was sure the culprit was one of his brothers, Frederick or Matthew, who lived together with him. One of them collected ancient books, and the other was crazy about rare stamps. All the collections were kept in the same large room in the house. The key to the room was kept in a vase standing on the fireplace. The only other person besides the brothers who visited the house was Robert's friend Mark. When the police arrived, they found out the room had been opened with the key. The officers also didn't find any fingerprints. Do you know who stole the coin?
Uh-oh.
It was Mark. He was the only person who had a reason for getting rid of the fingerprints. The brothers' fingerprints would be absolutely natural since they live there. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one.
Yeah.
1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters, but the word 4 has only 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4, and the game will end there. Look at this picture. Can you figure out which mermaid is his wife? Have you spotted a tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L. See? And now the mermaid on the right also has a tattoo. It's the letter J. They most likely depicted the first letters of each other's names, so they must be husband and wife. The next picture for you. Which girls are sisters? These two mermaids are sisters. Have you noticed that they have identical moles on their faces? Wow, a race on seahorses? That's something new. But can you figure out which mer person is cheating? One of the guys has a robotic seahorse. See that USB port on its neck? And now look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. Kimberly inherited an old house from her rich aunt. When the young woman was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully.
Uh-oh.
Kimberly also noticed that there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. This next riddle will challenge your math skills. Add this number to the same one and multiply the result by 4. Then divide it by 8. And you'll have the very first number again. What number is it? It can be any number. You can try it out to make sure. Jason took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned. And even though a mistake wouldn't cost Jason his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should Jason choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have melted completely, but it didn't happen. The cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. Jason opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. A man was in an 8-story building when a fire started. He jumped out of the window but didn't even bruise himself. How is it possible? The man jumped out of the first-floor window. I was driving along the highway when one of my car tires burst. I stopped to change it, but when I came back to the car, I saw it had a flat battery. I looked around and realized I was in the middle of a small town. I decided to wait for someone who could help me. Suddenly, I heard glass shatter. The night was very dark, so I switched on the headlights and saw a man with a large bag climbing out of a house. I immediately ran to the nearest police station to report the crime. That's what Mr. Darrison told the police. The detective who was listening to him asked, "And where did you hide everything you'd stolen from that house?" How did he come to this conclusion? If Mr. Darrison's car battery was flat, how could he switch on the headlights? Can you figure out which passengers on this bus are zombies? There are 2 zombies on the bus. This man with a bandage on his neck and one ear missing. And this business lady sitting near the window. She's making bizarre growling noises. How about some rebus puzzles? Here we go.
Yeah.
What does it mean? That's how you greet people. Good afternoon. Okay, now try this one. It's progress underway. And how about this one? Ah, this one was easy. It's accelerate. It was winter when an elderly couple finished building a pretty new house. The husband was responsible for the construction, while his wife was a self-appointed decorator. The house looked beautiful. Very proud, they invited their grandchildren to have a look at their work. But within an hour, the kids managed to break several windows. They also knocked down the fence, removed the decorations, and ruined the roof. But the most bizarre thing, the grandparents didn't seem to mind. Can you figure out what happened there? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to eat it.